Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the book of Deuteronomy. Today we're looking at Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 10 through 18. Now, Moses has been preparing the people to enter and possess the promised land. And in this section, in these verses, he warns them about the dangers of prosperity. In other words, when you go into the land and take possession, life is going to go well for you. I'm going to provide for you. But there's a danger when all is going well that you might tend to forget the Lord your God. The danger of prosperity. Listen to what Moses says in these verses. Verses 10 through 18, chapter 8. Now when you have eaten and are satisfied, praise the Lord your God for the good land he has given you. Be careful that you do not forget the Lord your God, failing to observe his commands, his laws, his decrees that I am giving you on this day. Otherwise, when you eat and are satisfied, when you build fine houses and settle down, when your herds and flocks grow large, your silver and gold increase, and all you have is multiplied, then your heart will become proud, and you will forget the Lord your God, who brought you up out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. He led you through the vast and dreadful wilderness, that thirsty and waterless land, with its venomous snakes and scorpions. He brought you water out of the hard rock. He gave you manna to eat in the wilderness, something your ancestors had never known, to humble and test you, that in the end it might go well with you. You may say to yourself, my power and the strength of my hands have produced this wealth for me. But remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth, and so confirms his covenant, which he swore to your ancestors, as it is today. Notice Moses says, when you enter the land and you build fine houses and your life is settled and your wealth increases and life is good, you may have a tendency then to forget the Lord your God. That sounds kind of strange to us, but it's true. When times are difficult, when we're in the wilderness, when we're hard pressed, when we have great needs, then we're not going to forget God. Then we depend on him absolutely to help us. And Israel remembered how God had brought them through the wilderness, providing all they needed. But when prosperity comes, when you're in the promised land, when the conquest is over and life is going well, you're going to be tempted to forget God, because you won't feel your need of him as great in times of prosperity. You may even become proud and think, well, I've done this all for myself. It was my strength and my ingenuity that brought all this to me. And you might forget that it is the Lord who has so blessed you. So I'm warning you today, when life is going well, when things are easy, don't forget God. It is God who has provided it for you. Remember, he is the Lord. Remember his word and follow his law as he's given it to you today. We face the same temptations in our day. When we're in great need, we cry out to the Lord. But oftentimes when things are going well, we tend to forget. We don't feel the need of prayer quite as much. We don't feel the need to stay as close to God quite as much as we do when we're desperate. So Moses warned the Israelites, and he warns us, in times of prosperity, in times when all is going well, when life is good, there's a temptation to neglect attending upon the things of God. There's a tendency to neglect staying close to him. There's a tendency to forget how much we need him. So I'm warning you, said Moses, that this will be a temptation. Be prepared for it. Stay close to God. When times are bad, yes, stay close to him. But also when times are good and all is going well, stay close to God. Recognize he and he alone is God. Stay faithful. Stay true. Continue to be people of faith. It's a good word for us today. Good word for God's people always. Join us tomorrow as we continue in our 5-minute Bible study in the book of Deuteronomy.